guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm creating this video after a long time, and in today's video I'll be talking about technology roadmaps. So what all roadmaps you can take and which technology you want to learn, how they are going to be beneficial to you. So I found this amazing site roadmap.sh, and it's really an amazing site which gives you roadmaps about different technologies and different roles. So it also gives you roadmap about DevOps, PostgreSQL, software architecture. We'll look into in depth about the DevOps roadmap that this particular website shows us. Then it also gives you skill based roadmaps. So, what roadmaps are and why do you need it? You basically need roadmaps so that you have a long term planning and you are sure that what you are doing, you're achieving something at each level. And with that accomplishment, you can also showcase these roadmaps on your LinkedIn profile and on your journey on social media platform. And with this, it will attract a lot of recruiters, and you can get your next opportunity, and you can get ahead in life by moving on these different roadmaps. So let's see what this particular site gives an overview about DevOps roadmap. So this is the DevOps roadmap that it shows, and if you start from here, the first thing it says is you should at least basically know a programming language, let's say Python, Ruby, Go, Rust, JavaScript, any of these programming languages. So whenever you are doing scripting, you will be needing these programming languages. Next, you should also be well versed with the operating system. So one of the operating system, let's say Linux or Unix, you should be well versed with one of these operating systems. So whenever you go in the industry, these are the operating system where your servers will be deployed, and these are the operating system which are heavily being used. So you should be aware of these operating system as well as different commands as well as shell scripting, how it is being done on Linux and Unix. So you should be aware of all those things. Next, it shows that you have to learn to live in terminal. That means you need to know how you can do the scripting, what different commands such as ls, vm, moving from one directory to another directory, copying the data from one directory to another directory, how do you take the backup, and how do you search for a particular variables value within the logs. So for all those things, there are different commands and different shell scripting that can be done. So you should be aware of that as well. So let's say for scripting, it says you should be aware about bash scripting or PowerShell scripting. So you should be aware of one of these scripting. Also, you should be well versed with the editors that are being used in order to edit the files, and these editors are generally present on your Linux and Unix based systems. So these could be Vim, Nano, Emacs. So any of these editors you should be aware of. So once you have learned about the scripting, let's say bash scripting or PowerShell scripting, then you should also know about the version control system, such as Git is one of the version control systems, and there are different version control system hosting websites such as GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. You can learn different commands that are being used in order to maintain these version control systems. So basically, it means that you are maintaining the history of the code in your repository or in the system, and this history is maintained by using different commands, such as you can use the commands such as git push, git pull, git commit, in order to make sure that all the files are committed to the VCS hosting websites. Next, what you can learn is you can also learn how to set up a load balancer, how to set up a caching server, a reverse proxy server, different kinds of servers. So you can learn about different kinds of servers. You can also learn about different web servers, such as how do you install and configure Nginx servers. So suppose you are deploying your Django application on an EC2 instance and you want to configure that Django application using an Nginx server. So you should be aware like how do we do the different configurations in order to deploy that application on Nginx server. Then you could also be aware about the Tomcat server, about Apache, and about IIS servers. So you could be aware about all these web servers which are used for the hosting of the websites. Next thing that you can learn is you can learn about containers. So containers is in high demand. So once microservices came into picture, containers was something that came in, that got a lot of eye, that was catching a lot of eye, and that is being used a lot. So you should learn how to containerize or dockerize your application. So for that you can learn Docker, which is a very useful and a helpful containing container way. So you can learn Docker. Then the next thing is there are different cloud providers which you can learn about. So you can learn about AWS, you can learn about Azure, Google Cloud, DigitalOcean. So personally, like, you can learn about AWS, Azure. Nowadays many organizations are also asking you to be a multi-cloud person, so you should be knowing about all these clouds. So you can pick one of these cloud services and you can start learning about those cloud services in depth. Then if you are a part of DevOps, if you are a DevOps engineer, you should also be knowing about the networking, security and protocols. So you should also have idea about SSH. You should also have idea about HTTPS, DNS, SFTP. So you should know about all these different protocols that are being used when you are hosting your websites and when you are accessing different websites over the internet or over the cloud. So once you are aware about all those things, then you should also be knowing about different serverless ways of doing things, such as in Azure we have Azure Functions, in AWS we have AWS Lambda. So you should be aware about the serverless part as well. Next thing that comes into picture is infrastructure provisioning. So infrastructure provisioning is also an important part of DevOps journey. So you should know about Terraform, CloudFormation, AWS CDK. Next, you should also be aware about configuration management. So, for configuration management, you can learn about Ansible, Chef, Puppet. And once you're well versed with all these technologies, you can slowly and steadily learn about other things as well, other CI/CD tools as well. So, these are some of the basic things that you should be knowing to be a good DevOps engineer. And other than that, you should slowly and steadily you should keep on adding different DevOps tools to your knowledge base. So let's say you can add CI/CD tools such as GitHub Actions. You should also be knowing about Jenkins, GitLab CLI. I don't want to overwhelm you with all these technologies, but slowly and steadily you can make a goal. You can follow a roadmap, and you can start learning all these technologies. Then you should also be knowing about secret management, then infrastructure monitoring, then comes your application monitoring. So I've made a video on monitoring and different websites and different tools and technologies that can be used for monitoring. So you can go ahead and look into that particular video. It's a short video which gives an idea about different monitoring tools that are being available, such as Prometheus, Grafana, Datadog, Zabbix. Then you should also be aware about logs management. So once you have reached till here, then you should be knowing about container orchestration. So that for that, nowadays Kubernetes is something that is being used heavily. So you should be well aware about the Kubernetes architecture, how things work within Kubernetes. Then we'll move forward to artifact management. So for that, you can look into all these tools and methodologies through which you can do your artifact management. Then you can come to GitOps. So ArgoCD is also something that is being used heavily nowadays. So this is the complete roadmap of DevOps, and you can go through this roadmap. You can go through this website, and you can follow this roadmap, and you can set your goals, and you can try achieving those goals by learning all these technologies and all these tools which are present as part of DevOps, slowly and steadily, as and when you want to learn them. So all the best for your DevOps journey, and I hope you like the video. So give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye bye.